And what I'm really going to kind of touch on is the deep space of innovation. So we're talking here about the culture of innovation as opposed to product innovation. So a few words just about me and my company. We've been going for about 15 years in total now. We have always worked with teams, leadership and development. But in the last 5 years we've really specialised in working more deeply with teams through change, particularly in manufacturing environments and supply chain environments. So we're particularly skilled at looking at complex cultures and so on, and internationally. And one of our philosophies is that most of the resources that companies actually need are already in the organisation. But the thing is, how do you get them out, and how do you get them to be better? And in normal times it's a challenge, but we're in very particular times where there's a lot of change at the moment. So working with teams and innovation is about really unlocking the culture. And we all need support to do this because we can't see ourselves sometimes. We need help to actually hold up the mirror and see what's going on. And so we do something called systemic team coaching, and that's what that is. We work with teams over a period of time to bring about innovation and change, as well as performance improvements as well. And innovation is all about connections. It's about people talking to each other. So making that connection from the individual, the little me here, and what difference can I make, through to my team, my organisation, and actually, the industry, the country, the nation, the world is incredibly important. And particularly with new generations, the millennials, they're all in it for how we're going to change the world. It's not just what's in it for me, it's how we're going to change the world and how we're actually going to survive in the future. So we've got a very different set of value drivers that we need to be working with. Okay, so in talking about innovation, I want to make a distinction. We're not talking about continuous improvement here. Continuous improvement, the next step change, that's fine when largely the internal external conditions that we're working with are roughly the same. They're relatively stable. But that is not the case today. Everything around us is changing. So everyone is actually in the business of transformation today. And if you think you're not, it's time to wake up. We are all working with complex and ambiguous conditions. And the American military coined the term VUCA. Anyone know what VUCA is? No? Okay, it's velocity, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. And those are the conditions that we're all facing today. So we need ways of working better, not just at what we do, but working better together so that we can cope with these conditions. And that is arguably one of the greatest challenges of today, and it's one of the most difficult things that companies are really struggling with today. And the thing is that, technology is changing the world faster than we realise. And so what I'm experiencing with a lot of companies that I work with is that, the managers at the top of the organisation are recognising how fast things are going. And there's a relative complacency at other layers of the organisation when they realise that can't we keep doing things the way that we have always done so. But actually we can't. We have to keep changing. So innovation, I'm sure many of you here today have got innovation somewhere on your objectives for this year, or somebody's talking about it, or somebody's launching an initiative. And that's all well and good, but what exactly are you doing with it? So I normally make my sessions really, really interactive, because what I don't want is people staring at me, because that is old style. Old style organisations are hierarchical and they're very dependent on the people at the top. So I'm going to make you uncomfortable, because innovation is about getting out of your comfort zone. So I'd like to stand up and let's get into a space where we can actually see each other. I am not the only person with wisdom in this room. You guys have it too. So what I'd like you to do is take a chair and just turn it 90 degrees so we can actually see somebody else. It doesn't need to be tidy, it just needs to be good enough.
And anybody else, there's plenty of chairs here. If you want to come in, there are plenty of chairs and you can turn around and look at somebody other than yourself.
And I'm not going to apologise to the organisers either at this stage. Because this is real life. We have to keep changing and keep moving, and it's one of the hardest things to do, is get people to move out of their comfortable chair or their desk.
You're looking after everything for us, yeah.
each other. So,
plenty of room in here, guys.
what I'd like you to do just for a minute, because I've only got 15 minutes to talk to you, is just say something to anybody in front of you about how deeply is your company actually, or people that you work with, actually tackling innovation. Are you one of those people that are just talking about it, don't really know what to do, or are we in there, are we doing stuff? So just 1 minute, off you go. Talk to somebody. Who's really got into this in a deep way. Just let's see. Show yourselves, because you should be proud of yourselves. Fantastic. 1. I'd love to talk to you later too. Great. So, you know, you can see just from this little experiment that the vast majority are probably struggling with what to do about it. And so there's lots of talk about VUCA and complexity. We must change, we must change. But what that's doing is describing what we're actually experiencing right now. It's not actually helping us to solve the problems. And we have to kind of rise above everything to actually see what's going on. And that also requires a stretch in how we think, but also a stretch to rise above what's actually going on, to think more broadly, but also to go more deeply. So this is really starting to think in a very different way. And most change programs fail because, you know, this hierarchical approach to we must tell people they've got to change, we've got to change, we've got to change. Oh, let's have a new values program, let's try and change the culture. So we'll tell people what the culture's going to be. We'll tell people what the vision's going to be. And so the whole engagement piece is missing, and, you know, also missing the fact that the way organisations are going to be led and managed in the next 30 years is going to be completely different. So, and the other thing is that, you know, the burning platform is not really recognised. So we see an awful lot of complacency amongst some of the clients that we begin to work with. And so getting beyond that complacency is important. And you all know the iceberg, you know, the challenge lies in what you can't see. Most of culture is under the surface. And in that challenge lies in what people don't know, what they can't see, what they don't know how to explain, what they don't have a language for, and it's a mismatch of things like unclear roles, it's things like work the same they used to, people don't talk to each other properly, so there's communication problems, leadership problems, there's loads of it, loads and loads of it. And I've never been more flabbergasted at the lack of organisations that really have a sense of bigger picture thinking and strategy about where they're trying to go. There's a huge amount of firefighting. So anyway, I've talked enough about what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing around the place. But how do we actually work with this? We said that most of culture is actually quite hidden. So in this diagram here, this is from, everyone's heard of Ken Wilber in the Integral Institute. This is based on some of his work. And Ken Wilber is one of the greatest philosophers of modern times. But what it speaks to, and I'm going to have to come away from the microphone for a moment, sorry to actually say this. On the right-hand side here, you have all the aspects of organisational life that often get blamed in times of change. So it's things to do with we haven't got the right competencies, we haven't got the right behaviour, the structures are wrong, we're not measuring performance in the right way, we've got no strategy, the market's changed, the blame goes on here. But actually we're not attending to the stuff here on the left-hand side, which is all to do with how we are together, how we collaborate, how we communicate, how we work, physically how we work, and individually, everybody's thoughts, feelings and mindsets. If you can change stuff up here, you can absolutely transform a lot that's going on here. But the point is that you actually have to work on all four quadrants simultaneously all of the time. And there's too much work, particularly in manufacturing, which focuses on these two, and not enough in here. So if any of you are doing lean, Shingo, and looking at the people aspects of that, and the engagement piece, this is where you need to start looking at in there. And the other challenge of that is it keeps changing all the time. You can't just do it once. It's keeping evolving because the market is changing so fast. Okay. So coming back to, change is like a journey. It's like sailing a boat in a storm. You've got to keep on that boat. You've got to keep the people on the boat. You don't want to lose them. But becoming a change agent is a journey in itself. It is very much a destructive process to begin with because you cannot have change and transformation without letting go of the past. And letting go of the past is a grieving process, and people don't like letting go of the past, so it doesn't feel good. But enlightenment is not a happy clappy land. It is about getting to the heart of the issues, and that's the work that we do. So everyone has a U curve. Here's our U curve and many U curves. The piece up here is where we feel comfortable. The piece down here, the dark night, is where it all gets pretty choppy. And most change programs fail at 2 points. The first is we're unable to talk about the issues. We avoid them, we pretend it's okay, we haven't recognised the burning platform, we're too busy firefighting to actually get down deep and look at them. The second is we fail to actually let go of the past and we fail to change and do things differently. You cannot do innovation unless you come down and start to look at these issues. So creating a culture of innovation, firstly, it's about getting the shit on the table and working with it, but working with it in a really constructive way. And everybody has it, so let's not pretend that everybody's perfect. These are big times of change, and the reason for teams here is that teams provide a vehicle for managing that change. And it happens faster, it happens quicker, you engage people as you go, and it's practical. So you're not having the not invented syndrome, not invented here syndrome, which is important. So the cave you fear to enter, it might be difficult, but it's where the most gold lies. So there's a struggle with behaviours, you've got to change mindsets, and this is the simplified version of the U-curve. If anybody wants more information on this, the slides will be available afterwards. Please come talk to me because I'm giving you a 15-minute thing going on here. How does it actually work? Well, typically we would work with an organisation over a period of time, 6 months. 6 months to 12 to 18, depends what you want us for. But what we try and do is always train people internally to do the work that we do. We don't want to be consultants that are there forever with you. We want to train you to do what we do because we believe that every organisation needs to have team coaches embedded in their organisation. Not just in HR, by the way, they need to be right across the organisation in a variety of roles, and they need to know the skills of facilitation and change in order to embed that into your existing processes. If you have those, you can work on those 4 quadrants that I showed you earlier. So there is a process, there is a way. More information earlier, this is not meant to be a sales pitch, I just wanted to really emphasise to you that this deep space of transformation is a place you have to enter. The cave you fear to enter is where the treasure is. And in 2 sessions' time, Mary Collins of Merit Medical is a client of ours, and she'll be telling you about her journey at Merit Medical, about how they have actually been using this process over the last 5 years. Mary herself is now a trained systemic team coach with her colleague Regina, and they are doing all the coaching in-house. We're simply an external mentor to them and help keep them on track. But it's really given great results to them. So if you're interested in this more, do listen to Mary's presentation, and she's always very keen to help people on their journey too. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorna.
Time for one quick question. Is there a question in the audience? I'm really surprised there's no question having got to. Yes, sir. Mick.
Once you put in when there's coaching in an organisation, how do you ensure it's sustained?
When it's coaching, how do you ensure it's sustained? Well, if you're putting coaching into an organisation, you need to have a sort of structure around how it's being used and how it's being monitored. So firstly, coaching should always be linked to organisational goals and results. And if it becomes part of the way that you work, it can be sustained. But if it's stuck as something which is almost a perk or a nice to have, and it's not linked to results, it won't be sustained because it's not kind of connected into what we actually need to do. So the organisations that are very successful with it are those that really have got a whole framework around. They're developing their talents, they're using it strategically to work with culture. What they're doing is something like this. Because in our way, we're working with teams and individuals get coached as well. So we're making that link between the individual and the team, and that creates the web of culture. And those teams then go and influence other teams, and the leaders that are coached there will go and coach their own teams. So you're teaching coaching skills the whole time. So if you can really embed coaching skill into a mindset with people, it naturally becomes part of how we are as well. Does that help?
All right. Thank you very much, Lorna McDowell.